What's up, everybody? SouthPaw Boxing Media back with another video for you guys. So in today's video, I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet. I just want to talk about a couple of things and kind of maybe call out a couple of people for some of the stuff that I've been hearing about, some things that I completely disagree with, and some of you may agree with me, some of you may not. Not really my worry, but I just want to kind of get it out there. So to start out, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the video that I'm sure a lot of people have seen or heard about between Buddy Mcgirt and OD on OD's channel. They were talking about SHAKUR Stevenson and TEOFIMO Lopez. And in the video, OD's talking about how SHAKUR Stevenson is a great fighter, how he has almost a sixth sense about himself. As far as his defense is concerned, he kind of can sense shots coming before they even are thrown. And talks about how SHAKUR Stevenson and TEOFIMO Lopez are not in the same weight division, but they're close. They're super featherweight for SHAKUR Stevenson and lightweight for TEOFIMO Lopez. And then Buddy Mcgirt cuts him off and says, yeah, I know SHAKUR Stevenson. He's a good kid. I've known him for a long time. He's a good fighter, but if he fights TEOFIMO Lopez, he gets knocked out. And I mean, I have to give all respect to Buddy Mcgirt. He's a world-class trainer. He's the next fighter. He knows his stuff, right? But I have to disagree 100%. I mean, I've been watching I've watching boxing for a long time. Doesn't make me an expert over Buddy Mcgirt by any means, but I have to call him out and say that I think he's completely wrong. I don't know where his head's at. I have to disagree, man. You look at SHAKUR Stevenson, you look at how he's progressed, you look at his last fight with Toko Clary. To the average fan, to a casual fan, that may have looked like a very, very boring fight. If you don't really know what you're looking at, it could seem a really average fight. To me, it was not at all. It was a very exciting fight. Clary's a very, very strong fighter. He's got a lot of skill. He moves well. He moves in and out. He uses angles well. There's pretty much not too many things he doesn't do well. Speed. He's got kind of a well-rounded game. And SHAKUR Stevenson made him look pedestrian. He made him look average. And that was a really impressive fight, in my opinion, for SHAKUR Stevenson. That being said, again, I think a lot of people looking at it, they may not have known what they were looking at. But going forward and thinking about his Stevenson's career, I believe he is not only ready for the elite level, I think that he's going to dominate the elite level. I think he's going to dominate super featherweight. I think he's going to dominate lightweight and maybe even super lightweight. He's not even in his prime yet. He's not even got his man strength yet, as people say, and he's already a supremely outstanding fighter. So do I think that TEOFIMO Lopez would knock out SHAKUR Stevenson? Yeah, anything can happen, of course, but do I think that it would be most likely how it would go down? No, I don't. I think SHAKUR Stevenson has more skills than TEOFIMO Lopez, and people may disagree with me. Do I think that Teo has more power? Yeah, I do think he has more power than Stevenson at this point, but I think Stevenson has a more well-rounded game. I think he's more defensively savvy. I think he has if not even a little bit better ring IQ. I think he does a lot of things a little bit better. And I think he would beat TEOFIMO Lopez. I don't know that he would necessarily knock out TEOFIMO. I think it may go to the decision at this point, but you never know. I definitely don't think that TEOFIMO Lopez would knock him out easily. Absolutely not. And that's saying a lot because we know what TEOFIMO is capable of. What he did to Comey, what he did in the Lomachenko fight. I mean, he's a great fighter, and he is, unified, right? At lightweight. So that's not taking anything away from Teo. It's just saying that's the type of fighter that I see SHAKUR Stevenson as being. I think he's an outstanding fighter, and I think he's being underestimated and maybe even disrespected by Buddy Mcgirt. I don't know if that's necessarily what Buddy Mcgirt meant, if those were his intentions, but that's how I took it. I don't know either one of them, so whatever. I may be wrong, but that's just how I took it. So that's my piece on that. And I obviously saw that SHAKUR Stevenson clearly didn't like what Buddy Mcgirt said, and I can't blame him. I think it was kind of BS in my opinion. But you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Basically, the next part, again, that I had kind of took issue with this time was with 8-time world champion Manny "PACMAN" Pacquiao. And basically what he had talked about the fact that he wants to fight 2 times in 2021. He wants to have a fight with potentially with Conor McGregor, and then another fight with either Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Bud Crawford. I think he's more likely, and I think he has more interest in fighting Errol Spence Jr. than he does Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford would probably be a backup in case he can't get a fight with EJ. So going into that though, something that he had said really made me kind of shake my head, and that is that he said that he thought a fight with Errol Spence Jr. would be an easier fight than with Keith Thurman. He thinks that he's slower than Keith Thurman, and he thinks that he would have an easier time with Errol Spence Jr. And I, again, think he's crazy. That's another between Buddy Mcgirt and Manny Pacquiao. Dude, these guys just, I don't know what they're on. And I love both those guys. You know, I think, again, Buddy Mcgirt's a great trainer. And I think Manny Pacquiao is a great fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters. But I think if he's being serious, he is severely underestimating Errol Spence Jr. I don't think that Spence is slower than Thurman. I think he has fast hands. I think he may have just as fast, if not faster hands than Thurman. People will disagree with me on that, probably. The thing with Spence is that he chooses, I think, to not always throw his punches with speed. He likes to, he'll sit down on his punches more. He has crisper punches, I think, than Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman does have natural power. He has a tendency to telegraph his punches at times. And dude, again, nothing but love for Keith Thurman. He's one of my all-time favorites, man. Like, I've followed his career for so long. But I'm just keeping it real. He does have natural power. He's a great fighter. His footwork, I love pretty much everything about Keith Thurman. He does telegraph his punches a little bit, especially like when he's coming with hooks. He does bring them wide. But he does have speed. He does have great power. I just think that Errol Spence Jr. Has his technique is a little bit better. I think his punches are a little crisper. And I think that he does have tremendous speed. I think he has really fast hands when he wants to have really fast hands. So I think for Manny Pacquiao to underestimate that about him, I think he's making a mistake. I also think that I think that Manny Pacquiao is going to have a ton of problems with Errol Spence Jr. Just an example. Now, this is an example, and I'm not saying that they're the same type fighters because they're not. But if you look at the fight that Manny Pacquiao had with Jeff Horn, and you look at how Jeff Horn, the thing that gave Pacquiao problems was that Jeff Horn, besides the reach and everything, because Pacquiao's used to fighting bigger fighters with longer reaches, so it's not just that. But if you combine the fact that he had a longer reach, Jeff Horn was throwing the right hands a lot and setting up the right hand, which was a good thing. But he kept coming forward, and he didn't mind getting in exchanges with Pacquiao. He would throw he was really offbeat. He had a really weird timing, and he'd throw punches at weird times as well from weird angles. It was like a half beat that he would have on some of his punches, right? He would wait until Pacquiao was like on an off step, and he would throw a punch and catch him. Just really off timing, right? And I think the fact that plus he was coming forward consistently, and Errol Spence Jr. is that way as well. He can be that way as well, except even more so. He's faster than Jeff Horn. He's more powerful. I think he's more relentless. I think he comes forward more. I think he pretty much does everything better than Jeff Horn. And that's not taking anything away from Jeff Horn. He is a great fighter. I mean, he's a good fighter. There's no doubt about it. Do I think he beat Manny Pacquiao? I don't know. I think it was a decently close fight, and I think there's a lot of controversy and arguments on who won that fight. But that's not my point. My point is that Errol Spence Jr. he's going to bring it the entire fight like he always does. He's got fast hands. The combinations, man. The way that guy puts combinations together. His body shots are crazy. He's got amazing body shots. He goes up and down with his punches, amazing. I mean, the way he does everything, he's one of the most well-rounded, complete fighters, period. Definitely in the welterweight division. But I think overall, in general, and I think that if Pacquiao truly feels that way, feels that it's going to be an easier night than with Keith Thurman, I think he's in for a rude awakening if he does fight EJ, because, I mean, other than the knockdown with Keith Thurman, that was a really good fight. Thurman came back. Thurman brought the fight, and who knows what would have happened if not for the knockdown, right? So I think that what you're most likely going to see in the fight, Pacquiao will have success. Of course, he always has success. He's got fast hands. He's got great timing, great footwork, great foot speed. He's pretty much a total package. He's a smaller guy, but I think youth is going to be obviously on Spence's side. His relentless come forward style, his jab is amazing. Again, his body work, his up and down movement. The one thing that Spence does do sometimes is pull straight back, and obviously that's what happened to Keith Thurman. That's how he got dropped, was coming straight back. He got tricked. Pacquiao made it look like he was throwing the body shot, so Thurman brought his hands down and moved straight back. And when he did that, he got caught, right? And he got dropped. But what didn't really hurt him, it was more of a balanced knockdown, a flash knockdown. But it doesn't matter, right? So there is that potential. EJ does need to make sure that he's using lateral movement, moving side to side, using angles, not moving straight back, because Pacquiao will catch him. Pacquiao, even though he has a shorter reach, he has the ability to get in and out fast. He can come forward very quickly, and just the way he did against Keith Thurman, he can punch going forward, going back, and Pacquiao has no problem, and he does not lose power in lunging forward. He kind of comes off his feet sometimes. You'll see 1 foot way up in the air as he throws. He can just throw crazy combinations at crazy angles, and that's one of the many things that makes him successful as a fighter. So, but I do think overall, I think that Pacquiao at his age, I think especially if he's got that mindset that it's going to be an easier night, or that EJ is not as fast as Thurman, he's going to be in for potentially a long night or maybe a short night, depending. But I think EJ wins the fight no matter what, and it just makes, I think it's a difference between whether Pacquiao decides to be more cautious and try to go the distance. I think I don't necessarily know that he's going to look for the knockout against EJ anyway, against Errol Spence Jr., but I think that if he's smarter and fights a smart fight and doesn't underestimate Errol Spence Jr., it could go the distance. I have a feeling, this is just a feeling I have, that Errol Spence Jr. may stop Manny Pacquiao in the later rounds, and people again may disagree with me on that. I obviously don't care. That's my opinion, and that's an opinion based on watching both of them fight for a long, long time. I mean, obviously I've been watching Pacquiao a lot longer, but I see what both of them bring to the table. Pacquiao, of course, has the potential to win the fight. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm picking Errol Spence Jr. to win the fight, and I definitely, even more so after seeing what Pacquiao said. Now, if that's just, smoke and mirrors, whatever, if he's just talk crap, that's fine. Who knows? I don't think it's going to affect Errol Spence Jr. at all, and I certainly don't think that Errol Spence Jr. lost anything in the ring with his horrible car accident that he had. I think Pacquiao was talking with somebody about the fight, the potential fight, and the gentleman he was speaking to stated that he thought that EJ lost something in the fight, or in the car accident and in the ring. If you saw the Danny Garcia fight, you would completely disagree. I think if you knew what you were looking at in there as well. He didn't lose a step. If anything, he gained it. He's more motivated than ever. Danny Garcia's a tough customer, and EJ definitely, Errol Spence Jr. put on a clinic. He definitely dominated Danny Garcia. Danny couldn't really get going, couldn't really put anything together. Errol Spence Jr. didn't stop Danny Garcia, but Keith Thurman couldn't stop him. Nobody's been able to stop him. So that's not a surprise there. He's got a granite chin. He's a tough guy. But I think Manny Pacquiao needs to rethink his thought process a little bit, or else I think he's in for a surprise. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of put it out there. There's a couple things I wanted to put out there. I think Buddy Mcgirt and Manny Pacquiao need to stop smoking whatever they're smoking, and just recognize I am still doing my giveaways. Again, I haven't gotten a lot of traction, guys. I'm trying real hard. Trying to get more subscribers, trying to sweeten the deal for people watching, trying to, I've got some big things I could potentially give away. Everything from small necklaces and t-shirts to Venom fight gear. Shoes, Nike. There's tons of stuff I could give away. I've got to get the subscribers up. I've got to get people coming to the channel, watching the videos, so that I can, show the love where I'm being shown the love, I guess. So we'll talk more about more giveaways soon. I want to do another giveaway soon after this one's over. I haven't really got, like I said, a lot of traction on that one. Hopefully I'll get some. Hopefully I don't know why people aren't into getting free stuff, but maybe it's my content. I don't know, man, but we're working on it. I'm trying my hardest, and I appreciate all the support I am getting, and I'm going to leave you guys there. So I'll just say good night, and SouthPaw Boxing out for